series based on John Ortberg's book, Who is This Man? The Unpredictable Impact of the Inescapable Jesus. We've been looking at Jesus' remarkable impact upon human history in the way that we treat the most vulnerable in our society, in the way we treat the enemy. And today we're going to be looking at the creation of this wonderful, yet flawed organization, this body that we call the Church of Jesus Christ. Our scripture is Matthew chapter 17, verses 14 through 20. It is a passage that follows immediately after the Transfiguration. So that's important because the disciples are literally having this mountaintop experience. And they are literally coming down off of the mountain when they encounter the scene as a crowd has gathered. I'm going to invite you to stand as you are able for the gospel reading, Matthew 17, 14 through 20. Now when they, meaning Jesus and the disciples, came to the crowd, a man came to Jesus and knelt before him and said, Lord, have mercy on my son, for he is an epileptic and he suffers terribly. He often falls into the fire and often into the water. And I brought him to your disciples, but they could not cure him. And Jesus answered, You faithless and perverse generation, how much longer must I be with you? How much longer must I put up with you? Bring him here to me. And Jesus rebuked the demon, and it came out of him, and the boy was cured instantly. Then the disciples came to Jesus privately, and they said, Why could we not cast it out? He said to them, Because of your little faith. For truly I tell you, if you have faith the size of a mustard seed, you will say to this mountain, Move from here to there, and it will move. And nothing will be impossible to you. The word of the Lord. You may be seated. Well, when I looked at the calendar and I realized that we had scheduled the reception of our confirmation class on the same day that we were scheduled to preach on the flaws of the church, I had to have a little chuckle. And here we are, we're supposed to be encouraging these folks about what a wonderful group we're joining. But then again, my son Matthew is in this confirmation class, and after 13 years of watching the leader, a particular leader of the church, rather closely, I have little doubts that Matthew, at least, has too many illusions about the perfection of the church. And, of course, many people today feel the same way. In the United States, 59% of 18 to 29-year-olds with a Christian background, that's almost two-thirds of those raised in a church or connected to a church somehow, will drop out, at least temporarily, from the church. The biggest reason, according to surveys, Christians. Yes, the church would be quite perfect if it weren't for Christians, wouldn't it? People are often disappointed by the church. I'm often disappointed by the church, even as somebody who loves it deeply. Like the Father in Matthew 17, we come to Jesus with such soaring hopes, such high hopes, but are often let down by Jesus' frustrating followers. We're turned off often by the church's inability to help, by her hypocrisy, by her narrow morality, especially regarding sexuality, her obsession with money, her opposition to science, and refusal to change. Other folks have unfortunately been personally hurt by the church, and we don't have to look to the Roman Catholic Church and the sexual abuse scandals there to see that, do we? In my first church, for instance, the Presbyterian pastor in the community immediately next door to us was so emotionally abusive that Rebecca and I formed a group for these folks called Healing Holy Hurts. It consisted mostly of people who had left that particular congregation hurt and confused after the pastor's actions. They needed a safe place to share their feelings, a safe place to share their frustrations and their angers, a safe place to heal. We were honored. We were honored that they trusted anybody from the church, nonetheless another pastor and a therapist. But in the end, the best news that we had for these folks was that they were not alone. Jesus himself was often frustrated and angry with his followers in the church. "You faithless and perverse generation," he says in our text, "how much longer must I be with you? How much longer must I put up with you?" We're not used to hearing this side of Jesus, are we? This human side of Jesus who, like all of us, was having one of those days when he just had it up to here with frustrating people and he let them have it. He'd been up on the mountaintop, right? And everything was perfect up there in perfect harmony with God. And then he comes down into the tear up the earth. But his words here also reflected the divine side. Here we see Jesus, the visitor from another world, who is stuck down here on a planet inhabited by thick-headed and violent humans. Kind of the planet of the apes. It's like E.T. wants to go home, but the mothership says, "Sorry, it's not time to come home yet." So Jesus comes off kind of like Mork and Mindy, except a whole lot grumpier in our text. His feelings are understandable. Jesus had poured his life into these disciples for 3 years, and yet they still don't get it. He cared for these men, and he hurt for those affected by their inability to make a difference in the world. And so, yes, Jesus bends a little bit here in verse 17. After he heals the boy, he turns his attention to healing the disciples' impotence in verse 18. They come to him. To their credit, they come to him privately, and they ask him why they couldn't heal the boy. "It's because of your little faith," Jesus replies. It's interesting, isn't it? If you think about it, most of us, when we're diagnosing the problems with the church today, most of us say things like, "Oh, well, that's a lack of money and good stewardship," or it's the church's failure to play the right kind of music, or we've got outdated buildings, or bad preaching, or bad coffee, or bad breath, or something along those lines. But Jesus doesn't cite any of those things as his primary concerns in the church. It's our lack of faith, he says. You see, the scandal of Christianity is that believers don't believe. Everything else is a symptom of this one primary malady that we suffer from, and that is that we lack faith. Truth is that most of us, most of the time, live like Christian atheists. We say we believe in God, but we trust in our money. We're more devoted to entertainment than to worship. We worry as if God didn't exist, and we don't think that we or other people can or will change. And if you can't say amen, then say ouch, I guess, right? But the good news, according to Jesus, is that we can change, and that the church can change, and we can change the world. "For truly I tell you," says Jesus, "if you have faith the size of a mustard seed, you will say to this mountain, 'Move from here to there,' and it will move, and nothing will be impossible for you." Remarkably, despite all of our foibles, despite all of our flaws, Jesus still believes in us. Jesus still believes in the church despite all of her flaws. Lauren and Logan and Matthew, I want you guys to remember that. Jesus believes in you. And Jesus believes in this flawed group of people that you are about to join this morning. The church is not perfect. And by the way, last I checked, neither are you. But God can still use all of us if we work together and if we have a little bit of faith. And thankfully, that is all that it takes. A little bit of faith. Notice that Jesus does not say that it takes mountain-sized faith to move mountains. No, all it takes is a mustard seed-sized faith to move a mountain. And praise God, that's not much. The mustard seed, as Jesus says in Matthew 13, was the smallest seed known in Jesus' day. It was only 1/20th of an inch in diameter. You see what Jesus was getting at here? We don't need a lot of faith to be effective Christians. We don't have to be Mother Teresa or St. Paul or something like that. We just need a little bit of faith in order to be an effective church. And that is so true. I have seen that play out time and time again in my life and in the life of the church. I can't tell you how many meetings that I've been in when we're facing some seemingly mountainous obstacle or challenge, and everyone is just discouraged and tired. But all it takes is one person to pipe up and says to the group, well, we've been through things a lot worse than this before. Have a little faith. We'll make it. Let's stick together. We can do this. And the whole mood of the room is elevated. And we rally together. And we do it. We succeed. It's usually the little things in life that make a big difference. You hear one line in a sermon, or read one sentence in a book, and your whole perspective is radically changed on an entire issue. One encouraging word from a friend, one glimpse of a sunset, one song in worship, and wow, wasn't that a spectacular anthem today? One little piece of bread in communion. And the fulcrum tilts, and we're able to make it. And that mountain suddenly doesn't look quite so large. And we know that and that we're going to be able to make it. That's mustard seed-sized faith. But above all, it's simply enough faith to pray. Mark's version of this story makes this especially clear. In Mark chapter 9, verse 29, Jesus' response to the disciples' question of why can't we heal this person is not about faith, but rather, he says, this kind can come out only through prayer. We need to have enough faith to pray. Prayer, friends, is simply faith breathing. Faith working its way out. Dale Bruner says that prayer is the internal expression of life with God, while faith is the external expression of the same life with God. I like it. It's the internal expression of our life with God. In the end, the reason for the disciples' inability to heal is that they didn't pray. They thought that they could handle this situation on their own. It amazes me how many things in my own life I think that I can handle on my own. Maybe it's not so much that I don't have faith, but rather that my faith is so incredibly misplaced. It's centered upon my intelligence. It's centered upon my hard work. It's centered upon my creativity. Oh, surely I can make this work. And yet, the older I get, the more I realize how truly powerless I change nearly everything in my world. I need to pray a whole lot more. The old hymn is right. Oh, what needless peace we often forfeit. Oh, what pain we bear. All because we do not carry everything to Jesus, to God in prayer. And so, what is Jesus' words to the boy's father in Matthew 17? Bring him here to me. Bring him here to me. Jesus uses almost the exact same words earlier when he feeds the 5,000. And all the disciples had was 5 loaves and 2 fish. He says to them, bring them here to me. Whether it's insufficient loaves or insurmountable challenges, the command is the same. Bring them to Jesus. Don't try to fix it yourself. Lay them at the foot of the cross. Jesus will multiply our meager resources. He will strengthen our weak knees. He will impart faith to the faithless, to the failing hearts. And nothing will be impossible to us. In the end, that's the only way that we can even explain the church's survival, nonetheless the church's incredible impact throughout human history in so many different areas. John Ortberg puts it so well. He says, if you could have been there on the day after Jesus died, if you would have seen the Roman Empire with its Pax Romana and its 250,000 miles of roads and its extension from Asia to Africa to Europe, and its history of dominance and its social status that was envied throughout the entire Mediterranean world. And then, if you could have seen a few dozen failed, frightened, demoralized, defeated, confused, former followers of an executed carpenter, and if someone would have asked you to place a bet on which of those two groups would still be around in 2,000 years, all of the smart money would have been on the Holy Roman Empire, which is as extinct as a dodo bird. Who is this man? Let's pray. God, we are so humbled, so honored that you have called failed, frozen, spiritually challenged, broken people like us to carry forth your word and your work in the world. Forgive us, God, for our lack of faith. We don't have it. We're going to confess that to you right now. We don't have it. But you do. Lord, give to us that which you require of us. Give us mustard seed-sized faith. Help us to realize that we don't have to be super spiritual people here. We just have to take what we have and offer it to you. We have to lay it at the foot of your cross. We have to have the courage to pray boldly. And Lord, you will multiply our meager resources. You will grant us the gift of faith. You will enable us to carry forth in our own lives and in our corporate lives together. Help us, Lord, to be a mighty army. Help us to be the body of Christ. Help us to be your healing hands, your hurting heart, your strong love in this broken and hurting world. We pray this in Jesus Christ's name.